something which we've always wanted has come true. We are having a live session exclusively with Suta and the sisters who have founded Suta. So, welcome to the webinar, Sujata and Tanya. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having us. We are looking forward to this. Absolutely
Absolutely,
excited.
of course. So are we. So, as is tradition, I will introduce our speakers today to you guys, and then I will hand over the floor to them to talk about their brand journey and the brand that they have grown over the past few years, right? So Sujata is an alum of IIFT and Tanya is an IIM graduate. I mean, no surprise that you're an entrepreneur. Literally everyone I know from IIM has, stepped into the shoes of being an entrepreneur, and it's so great. And they left their corporate jobs, their cushy corporate jobs, to make their dream business come alive, which is why they're here today as well, talking about their business. And now they have become pioneers in the fashion industry. And Suta Saris is a result of reminiscence. I mean, from the articles that I've read, from the videos that I've watched of you guys, what I can understand is you are trying to revive something that's been lost over time, right? And the brand is empowering weavers and also encouraging women to wear comfortable Indian apparel on a daily basis. Suta saris is something you can wear for any occasion and look great while wearing it. So, with that said, I think it's time for you to introduce introduce yourself in a little bit more detail and tell us about Suta and your journey as entrepreneurs.
Thank you so much for the lovely introduction, short and crisp, and it actually summarizes what we have done in 5 years. So, as you said, we have finished our MBA, and then we were working in corporate, and then we quit. We'll just talk about the reasons why we quit, because I think it just will make you understand why we are doing what we are doing.
Yeah.
So we wanted to quit. We quit because we wanted to create an impact in the society. We just felt what we are doing, we didn't know what is the end result, who is getting affected, and we wanted to affect the grassroots level, and hence we quit. And the second reason is, of course, what you mentioned about saris. Yeah, it was going really out because the youngsters didn't prefer wearing it, and also they used to only take saris as loan from the parents or aunts, and wear it only occasionally, and also crib saying that it's so difficult to wear, so difficult to get a matching blouse, so difficult to get a petticoat, and the end reasons people give. So which we wanted to eradicate, and also bring it in daily lives, and not like keep it in the cupboards for only occasions. So these were the major two reasons why we started. And also in these 5 years of Suta, we didn't expect Suta to grow the way it has grown. We were focusing mostly on strengthening our backends like supply chain, working with a lot of weavers, but the community that we created, and the reach that it had was really amazing. Yeah, so I think primarily what we did, our core aim of how we did what we did is basically focusing on these two things: the back end and even the social media, which you see it. But for the first 2 years, honestly, we were not on Instagram, so we were only on Facebook.
Okay.
So yeah, and hence this became what it is. So yeah, and now you can probably fire questions. This is what we are in front of you. Yeah.
Absolutely. And so I want to talk a little bit about my observations as, of course, a customer, as someone who also is a marketer, and what I have seen of Suta online, right? And that is, I think the first thing that strikes me about your brand are that the saris that you sell. I mean, that's of course your prime USP, right? The saris that you're selling. And immediately, I think this caters to such a wide community, right? A wide audience, so many people, women all across India. So I'm thinking that, and I want to know, have you guys achieved bringing that messaging, right? That you want women to wear comfortable saris, because I feel that for a long time, especially within the millennial age group, wearing saris on a daily basis was not really a norm. It wasn't really a trend, unless, like you said yourself, right? It was an occasion. So has that changed after Suta came into business?
So I would love to say a big yes, and it is a yes. It is a yes, and Though it's not that I would say that every youngster is wearing saris, but our major age group, the target audience which we had kept in mind was 25 to 30,
Right.
but so we realized it was from 18 to 30. So this is like a huge success for us that the youngsters right out of colleges and schools have started wearing saris, Suta saris. So now what has happened is youngsters own a sari.
Yeah.
So we are talking only about, of course, the audience which we cater to, or our customer base. But then I'm sure there are miles to cover, of course. But yeah,
Absolutely.
people who we know, of course, they're now switching to saris. They think sari is more comfortable, and they don't rely on just wearing something, anything, and like mother's blouse which tucked in. Not that you can have your own blouse, or we can wear it with a
Yeah.
t-shirt. These are becoming cool, and there are so many beautiful sari influencers who are trying to bring in.
Yes.
So it's like just pushing our cause, and it's just beautiful. Yeah, and also just encouraging people to wear it without safety pin, and it is so breathable that it's not tight, it's breathable. The fabric that we started introducing is the malmal fabric, which people have started loving and owning. So yeah, we're really happy.
Absolutely. And I'm very pleased to say that, that's also, I think, a lot of people I personally know, they have given rave reviews about the brand. And but I can't imagine it was always easy, right? I mean, you yourself said that you started with Facebook. When you expanded, how did you expand? I would like to know a little bit more about, how you ventured, because you, I think, primarily started online, right? As an online business. So how did you go about that? Did you directly set up a website, or did you, mull over social media a little bit? I would like to know a little bit more about the growth.
Okay. So we started with a Facebook page, and even before we came to Suta, we were not really sure what we wanted to do, exactly what we wanted to do.
Mhm.
So it was a photography page, and our love for sari was always there. So we used to shoot saris, we used to shoot dresses to say that we can do product photo shoot. But then people started inquiring about the product itself, and hence Suta was born, and that's how it started.
Absolutely.
So we had a Facebook page.
Mhm.
We didn't have a website for the longest time. We didn't know how to build it and how much it will cost. So we knew roughly how much it will cost,
Yeah.
but we didn't know whether we should invest it in standalone website making, or should go ahead with a plug and play
Mhm.
model. So that was a challenge. So but then to be honest, we grew. We wanted to grow very small organically, because we wanted to know what's the actual whether people do actually like our product, which is the most important thing. People
Yeah.
might just spend a lot of marketing money and rush into it without knowing about the product, which is the most important thing. We didn't focus on the fancier aspect of things, like having a website and calling, saying that, oh, we're entrepreneurs and we have a website, it's
Absolutely.
fancy, it's short well. We didn't look at that angle at all. We
Yeah.
just had a Facebook page. We used to do our own shoots, and that to headless ones of Sujatas. Yeah, and, like this. And we just wanted people to buy things and give us reviews, which came automatically. Saying
Yeah.
that we really like your products, and our demand. We realized that our demand was more than the supply. Yeah. So
Oh, yeah.
once we realized that, then we had a website. I think we did a lot of delays. We
Mhm.
feel we should have gotten a website much earlier. Yeah. We delayed that bit, but there are so many mistakes, so many things we do as entrepreneurs. There's so many things to do. To be honest, you
Absolutely.
miss out on things. You pick this, you leave that.
Yeah.
You do overdo something. You don't do something. You ignore things. So this is what I think all of us will face. And website was not in our mind that time. We were just trying to fix our supply chain. In fact, we used to use InstaMojo to send out links and get the transactions and get the money in the
Yeah.
bank and stuff.
All right. Okay. So that's very interesting, and I think that so we can start with the myth busting, because you gave me my first pointer, which is you are saying about setting up a website, right? So one of the first myths that I remember reading and researching on is that a lot of people restrict themselves from setting up their dream business because they think setting it up is too costly, right? They think, because you mentioned setting up a website, a lot of them, even if Instamoja has an e-commerce platform where we allow them to create stores, yet they have this myth in their head that it's going to be expensive. I have to spend a lot of money with maintenance and this. So, what is your opinion on that? Is it a myth or is it a fact? What is your opinion on that?
So I'll say it's a myth for sure.
Mhm.
I'll tell you why. Is the logic is because you can decide how much money you want to spend. We both were, so a lot of people ask us, was your business profitable? We always said our business was profitable since day one because we knew how much you wanted to spend. So we knew how much to divide it on the product, so we will never sell anything on loss. So that's the first thing we have to remember is how much do you want to spend. There is a market of suppliers or platforms where you can actually get things with very little investment.
Yeah.
You can have plug and play free software platforms. Like you can create your website on WordPress. You can do free trials. You can have a lot of apps that are free. Of course, then there are a lot of disclaimers, for example, data safety.
Yeah.
But you can do a lot of things around how you want to put your products out in the market. It can be absolutely very, very little cost. Yeah, with e-commerce coming in, it's all the more easy. You don't rely on brick and mortar stores. It was difficult earlier, but now it's almost very less investment with which we also started. And once we saw that it's growing and this attraction, and only operating from a Facebook page or even a basic website is difficult, then we started investing a little bit more on paid apps, and investing a little more on different aspects. So you only start spending little more the moment the number of orders are increasing. Then you can decide whether you want to go for a little extra feature or get in few more tools which are expensive. So yeah, absolutely, it's a myth.
I agree with you, and I think a lot of small businesses that I know that I've personally, helped people with, they go for social media first, right? Because they think, okay, it's a free platform. Maybe I can gauge who my customers are there, right? So they set up Facebook profiles, Instagram profiles, put up their product photos. So when it comes to social media marketing, of course, Suta has a very strong presence now on social media, but as entrepreneurs, and I'm sure you also observe what's happening in the market. What do you think are some of the the mistakes, the challenges that is restricting businesses these days, especially with social media? Because I can see there's an overwhelming amount of not just businesses but solo entrepreneurs, freelancers, and with reels coming in, ad reels coming in, or reel ads, whatever they're calling it. There seems to be a lot to do, right? So I would like your opinion to know what do you think of that? Is it too much now? Is there a saturation? Are we going overboard with social media? Should we focus on other channels maybe?
So I love your question, Chetna. So this is coming literally from your heart, so I can understand what you're saying because
Yeah.
when we started, there was not much clutter. I'm not saying about like 30 years we started that long, but this is 5 years old. But then still the clutter is increasing every day as we speak. There are new brands opening up every day and very fast in the same line, same product,
Yeah.
pricing almost similar or lesser. So what we have to understand about social media is it's a place where everyone is screaming. Everyone is telling about their own product. So finding your own identity is what is going to be a game changer. That's the only thing that's going to matter because that the population is huge. Indian population or whoever, the entire population, the
Yeah.
world, because that's what everyone's catering to, right? So it's
Right.
huge.
Right.
Everyone will get a share of their space. It's niche, small is what we thought, right? And yeah, you have to just get the attention, and you have to build upon that. You cannot be creating the same kind of content or even copying someone. That okay, I like that person's profile, and the person is doing this. I should also do the same thing, or the world is doing this, I should also do the same thing. If you do that, then again you'll be lost. People will struggle to remember you. If you do keep doing the same thing, which is you, which is your product identity, you keep doing that, keep talking honestly about what you're doing and why you're doing, and the qualities of your products, then I think that will register well. Plus, you just have to. It is almost like literally teaching a kid. So think of customer as a child. What you want the child to learn is up to you, right?
Right.
What you talk about. Let's say talk about only science, science, science constantly. The child will learn science. It's something like that. So think about that. So build you first have to decide where you stand, what all are the values or what are the things that you want to talk about, and keep talking about it consistently. I think consistency is the second thing. Putting your thought process out there and consistently doing it is very important. I understand there is a lot of chaos.
Yeah.
Instagram algorithm, there's so much so much talks about
Yeah.
Instagram algorithm. What is the
Yeah.
right thing? And it will keep changing. It's not that you'll crack it today, tomorrow you'll be the king, and your page will be the best. No,
Right.
you crack it today, tomorrow it'll change.
Right.
So I think what we learn nowadays is that e-commerce is, as much as it has made it simpler, it will become more complex. And it's literally like you have to keep changing, learning, unlearning, both.
Mhm.
Yeah, and also plus when you say that is it wise to be present on social media? It is, because everyone is there, and also investing a little time on the other social media pages where there's not much happening now, like Pinterest, for example, LinkedIn. Being present everywhere, you never know tomorrow what goes up and what becomes the best, and everyone goes there. So maintaining your presence everywhere, also having the same language everywhere, is very important. So it'll give you like a first mover's advantage.
Mhm.
But having said that, making sure that you are there, investing a little time. To be honest, that's what you have to figure out: how much time you want to invest in which social media platform, because it is
Exactly.
maddening. It could be maddening. It could look like a challenge, but do not treat it like a challenge. Think it like I said, teaching a child, just
Yeah.
telling something here, there, and just now then rest. Don't have to be bogged down with so many pages doing the same thing. You can take knowledge, but there are bad thing about social media is that it can be very overwhelming.
It can.
So yeah,
And I
that
completely agree with your point when, especially when you say right about copied content. I think that's the problem. I don't think I've seen in a series, if I'm watching six reels, three out of that are the same thing. With the same background music and the same thing. So just for the for clout and for views and for likes, I don't think it's good to copy content. So I completely agree with you when you say it has to be genuine, because I think eventually it pays. And there was, I think, another webinar speaker that we had. He's a founder of a company himself, and he had said, "Give your business 1,000 days, right? With to check if you want to go forward with that, see if it's making any kind of a difference." So I think keep that in mind, keep that as a target, and go forward. So completely agree with what you're saying. And as we are talking about a lot of brands being on social media, now let's say social media aside, other platforms also, other websites, other online platforms. One of the other myths, and why I say this is a myth, is once again reading and research and speaking to a few brands like Suta itself, is that there's a myth that there's a lot of competition out there, right? Because of which, again, businesses are not born. Businesses are just like there's already a Geo. Why should I set up my business? Why should I have a telecom company? There's already a Suta. Why should I set up my company? So that's holding people back. But is that a myth that there is a lot of competition from other players?
I would not call it a myth, but you can treat it as a myth and
Mhm.
bring it to your own advantage. Competition. So I'll give you a very weird example, but then for example, when you watch like X-Men movie, so
Yeah.
humans and X-Men are fighting,
Right.
together. And I think they are the villain, and let's just remove them from the world. And the moment that alien comes in, you come together, and they become the major villain, and all you together then fighting. So
Yeah.
it's the same thing who you treated as a competition. So first we thought sari sellers are my competitor, right?
Right.
Then the sari sellers are all working towards making women wear sari. So they're my friends, right? So
Yes.
now who is my competitor? So a person probably selling a top or a kurta is my competition, because I would want the cupboard space. But then again I feel, oh my god, no, they're Indian brands. Why not? The probably the foreign brands are my competition. So
Right.
again, I think the bigger competition for us should be about think about a bigger thing like a climate change. Probably clothing industry all together should need to come together and think about what better to do. So I think if you think in those terms, you just become more evolved in the way you're communicating. So I think competition, only if it's a healthy competition, very good. But the
Right.
moment you think it as an unhealthy thing, oh my god, they have launched this, let me just launch
Yeah.
another product which is similar or a little better, that becomes bad, and you will
Yeah.
not end up anywhere. And the best part about having so many players in the same field is that you talk to each other,
Hmm.
learn from each other. Because the other day we were talking to another sari brand, and we realized that returns have to be done in a certain way. And for saris, the return policies should be different, and the stitch garments and stuff we discussed, and we found A common solution, which we both are implementing. If we think it from those angles, competition is actually not going to bother me. There is, of course,
Yeah.
but again, the customer gets to choose between a sari and of course a jeans. So think about a competition from bonds with competitors. Make
Yeah.
it like a WhatsApp group where you connect. Like a silver seller will all silver sellers are together, then they can fight imitation. So something like that. Have a form a committee or a group. I think it has to be an initiative for all the entrepreneurs themselves.
Okay.
Find your core fellow competitors. You call competitors, but actually you guys are friends doing the same things.
Yeah.
Going
And
for
for
the
a
same
customer,
challenge.
they might think that they must be like rivals and not even seeing eye to eye and all that. But
I
you should
agree.
just, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that makes so much sense because when you're saying this, I'm thinking it's community over competition, right? You have to know who the ultimate villain is, and I'm sure for Suta, ultimate villain might be fast fashion, right? Because they are the ones who have, they're much cheaper. The material is not that great, and a lot of people flock towards buying it in bulk. So how do you position your brand in such a way that you're saying you need to buy from us because we are genuine and we mean well. So I think, gather a community and fight the war together. So that
Yeah.
makes perfect sense. So speaking of, creating community and all, right? I mean, this is not a myth. This is something I wanted to know. Uh, how do you go about networking as a brand? You said you have, ties with other companies, you have talks with other sari companies and, apparel businesses, right? So how does Suta go about, networking and doing a little bit of community management? How do you do that?
So I think apart from the fact that we actually have a lot of platforms where we go talk to, if let's say you are not the ones who get so much invitation, just ping hi. Such a simple thing we don't do sometimes. We
Yeah,
forget that. Another brand, just say hi. I would like to talk to the co-founder. If let's say another person is managing their page, just say I'm the co-founder of this brand and I would like to meet the co-founder. And honestly, there are so many co-founders have come to our office and met us by just saying a hi on Instagram. So I'm
okay.
saying it's actually not that difficult as we think. It's a simple world,
I
and
think it's a barrier we put in our heads.
yeah, it is on our head that we feel how to network, how to communicate. Now, I would not say that our physical meetings are not happening. I know.
Right.
Otherwise, in physical meets, you can just walk up and say hi. But otherwise, Insta has become almost physical. Just say hi. People are active, more active now, and you will actually network. People are willing to talk,
Yeah.
share ideas if asked the right way. That's what is more important. Just genuinely ask your question. I think people are willing to answer.
Absolutely, and I agree with you on that also completely. It brings me to the next question of asking. I mean, yes, you speak of community, and that reminds me. I would love to know more about those you've employed, right, working with you, because it's a myth again, which I remember we discussed, and you also had mentioned that a lot of people believe, um, I can't do this alone. I need a team. I need a huge team. I need to hire a lot of people. I don't know marketing. I don't know how to do accounts. So I have to hire, and that's a lot of money. So I will not even have a business. And now so correct me if I'm wrong, please, but I had seen a video sometime back on Twitter which said you currently employ, or I mean, you help a community of over 1,400 viewers.
14,000 viewers.
14,000. Okay. Oh my God, that's fantastic. That's great because I think one of your first videos which came out years ago, it said 50 viewers, two sisters, 50 viewers. So now
Yes.
that's amazing. It's gone from 50 to 14,000. That's brilliant. So, yeah, I mean, but it started with just you two, right? And then went about growing, and now in 5 years, it's 14,000 viewers who are working to create beautiful saris. So is that a myth now that do you need a huge team uh, to grow your business? What do you think?
Um, I think starting small makes a lot of difference.
Okay.
You have to start working alone. That's how you start, right? It's literally when me and Tanya used to pack, make labels, put it, go drop it in the courier company, and then answer to the customers if they used to call us, reply to the Facebook page if they reply, ask question. And if they want to return, we would do everything, transfer the money, return, refund, everything ourselves. We both decided then what is actually taking our time, and we can have another person. So we hired someone who will manage our packing and
Right.
shipping, going. So one person at a time. And honestly, if you think marketing karna hai, this karna hai, ye karna hai, wo karna hai, you will go mad. Then there's HR, there's finance, there's so many things.
Yeah, if you think that you can start small and take one step at a time, as you said, thinking that I won't become that corporate with 100 employees with all the teams set, you know, just constantly thinking about that will just hamper your productivity. You will just
Yeah.
get down with, I have to hire, I don't have the money, I don't have the working capital, and all that will just become too much. So basically, hiring only as much as you can pay and
Mhm.
sustain.
Let's say how many like next hires, right? It will be helpful.
Yeah.
So for second was the operations girl. Third was a person who would make labels. So we got her to make labels and send it. Third person was the customer care person who
Mhm.
was managing all the talking to customers. She would just do everything for us. And then we worked with an agency who would do our finance, who would take care of our finance. We didn't even have an in-house team. That's
Okay.
what happened with the finance bit. Then we had another person for packing because packing was getting too much. The moment the work was increasing, we were hiring. So whenever there was a need, we were hiring, and that's how our team now, our corporate team, is a 100-member team, and
Okay.
we almost have all the department now. Even we have IT. Like, I never thought I'll have an IT person. When we used to be in corporate, I used to think
Yeah.
kitne kaam hoga, but we
Yeah,
needed
but
that.
also saying that till last year we had 25 employees.
Yeah.
Today we are 100. But yes, because we grew in that phase.
Yeah.
Uh, Otherwise I would be really happy with a small team and even working the way we are working. It's only when the demand was increasing, the orders were increasing, hence the team was increasing. But yeah, I think it's a myth to even think that okay, I need such a big team to start with, a big office setups to start with.
Yeah.
These are really, I think these are frugal. Going frugal way is, I think, is good. Also, since a lot of us are bootstrapped and not
Mhm.
looking for investments, staying frugal and hiring one by one makes sense.
Mhm.
And yeah,
Okay.
it's
Yeah,
a
I agree with that completely. However, I think that's because I know from speaking and working with, I mean, Instamojo works with a lot of small businesses, right? So we've realized a lot of them get overwhelmed as we are talking about, all the other myths, I think, come from a place of stress that they do feel that they have to manage a lot of things. But when you spoke about hiring people based on priority, right? I was also thinking about investing money in now tools. There are tools out there, online software that you can, spend a little money. It's a subscription model based software that takes care of inventory, it takes care of your marketing needs and all of that. So I think you're absolutely right when you say it's a step by step process. Like you don't hire it all in one go. You see what you need at that moment in time, and based on that, you hire right and very slow, right? I don't think it's fair for entrepreneurs to take on all the roles one
or
by
you
one.
have such good partners, you can outsource
Mhm.
half the things you don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Marketing, even managing logistics, managing warehouse, things you don't want to, take the headache of, you just outsource. And they do really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Also, I think one more very important critical thing when we talk about costs,
Yeah.
whenever there's costs involved,
Hmm.
what you have to always do is figuring out, okay, so I have 100 orders today, or for a month.
Yeah.
This is my expense.
Hmm.
Divide it, by the order, and
Yeah.
then fix out that cost which you need to add in the product.
True.
That's when people do mistake. When you don't calculate that, it's literally like chadar jitna hai pav utna phailao. It's that you have to figure out.
Hmm.
At one go, if I build my empire of 100 employees, and I only am shipping like 20 orders a day or 5 orders a day, then
Right.
how will this cost will get divided? Even if I have the
your
best
product
team.
becomes expensive then.
Correct. So
And
Yeah.
you
you
will,
just you
yeah.
just have to do that simple calculation, and a lot of myths will automatically get burst in your head. You'll figure out that you don't
Hmm.
need to think that far. It's the amount of number of products or the demand will actually drive everything towards it. Your expenses, your app, whether you want to do it, not want to do it. But honestly, if you always keep it in mind, key, I'll spend less. I'll try to spend less. That's,
Hmm.
I think, going to be the key mantra when you want a bootstrap company, or you want a company which is going to sustain for a long time.
Right. Of course. And it was at the tip of my tongue, so I have to ask that. How do you decide how to price your product? I mean, as customers, we see something, we say, oh, I love the product, but can I afford it? Can I afford it right now? And of course, you're not really thinking, is this affordable? You're thinking of the quality that you're delivering, of the costs that you are also incurring, right? So, how do you decide, or how did you decide how to price all the products that you're selling on the Suta website?
Very interesting question, Chintana. Really, like I know people struggling, even big companies, small companies, it's a dilemma always. Like in their head, whether I should just make it a percentage increase or should I think how much the customer should pay.
Yeah.
In Suta, we literally have a basic overhead in our head. So we add that overhead because if so much is our sales every month, we should have so much overhead.
We have to. So basically, what all we put in that is just to make you understand. It's the office rent, the salaries, electricity,
electricity
bills.
Any kind of bills, petty cash,
petty
which
cash.
is over and above. So that's added. Then we divide it by the order number.
Yeah.
We get the figure. We figure it out that has to be added. So the cost of so now let's say a new collection comes. We look at the cost of the product. We add that overhead. So now the cost becomes, let's say, I'm just giving a number, a random number. 100 rupees is the cost price, and my overhead is 50 rupees. The product cost anyway becomes 150. Then in Suta, we just don't make it 300. We just don't double it. We always see what is the perceived value. So we ask people, how much would you pay for this? And we literally do this exercise with a lot of people. Now we have become experts, so we don't spend so much time. But initially, we actually ask people, like our friends, how much would you pay for this? Does it even look worth it?
Yeah, and also make them touch and feel it. Because just seeing the picture is really, people don't understand.
Yeah, ask
and
your
later
mother.
returns will be higher. Yeah.
Ask your mom, dad, neighbor. Show the product, say how much will you pay. And once you figure that out, figure out whether you're making money or not. If you're not making money, trust me, do not launch. Because it never happen automatically. The costs only increase. It never decreases. So as an entrepreneur, we have to remember this. I think it's like a thumb rule that how much of overhead you add, chances of having goof ups increase, because sometimes shipment gets stuck, it gets lost. Customers probably by mistake has cut the product and said, oh my God, it's come torn. Things happen in business. So once you add that overhead, perceived value, figure out if you make money, please go ahead and start selling. You will do good. That's how the pricing should be. Ideally should be.
That's how we have had started doing it, and we still follow the same rule. It is not a percentage margin. We need such certain margin or just multiply it with some number. Nothing of that sort. We have never done that.
Do a thumb rule. Calculate it. I'm not saying don't do that. Don't discard that completely. Do whatever you want. You want to make it 3x, 4x, 1x, 0.5x. Do it. But also figure out the perceived value. It makes a lot of sense to understand what the customers will also pay or not. Always think from a customer's point of view
always highlight the value that you're giving. Maybe the same kind of product is available with someone else.
Yeah.
They always come to you saying that अरे वहाँ पे इतने में मिल रहा है, तुम्हारा इतना क्यों है? Make them understand. Mine is a hand painted one.
Yeah.
They are doing the same in a digital print. My thread count is 100. Theirs is 80 or whatever.
Yeah.
The difference. You have to talk about it.
And how can you get that communication across? I mean, let's say you have this challenge of, a newbie customer, someone who's trying to fall into your TV, right? Maybe someone who just started earning and wants to buy their mother a gift, just throwing it out there, a particular persona. And they approach you and they have these kind of questions, right? Do they directly talk to someone from customer care, or is it, communicated on your website or social media? I ask this because I think this would be great for small businesses to, know where they can communicate the value of their products.
So people come from every side.
The same customer comes from all different angles.
So you have to make sure your company's language, your understanding of the product is understood by everyone else in the company. They can come and talk, standing outside your office and start talking to somebody of your, from your company. It can be anything. Yeah. So we have to be, as a brand, it has to be that integrity has to be there. Right. Everyone should be that. So when you're hiring, you have to make sure that, the team also talks the same language, understands your goals and vision. It might sound cliche, but that's actually true. It actually helps you because it will help you mend the path. Everyone will talk the same language. Your customers will start understanding and trusting you more because then everyone's saying the same thing. They can call up, they can ask, knock your door. It can be anything. They can write.
Yeah, so basically, since you're the founder, you tell your top managements or the people you trust or talk to daily about your plans, your vision, why you're doing what. If you have a launch, send a voice note to everyone, and then they will tell their teams, and till everyone below the chain, everyone should know about what you're doing.
Even the person who's packing should understand what it is. At least they should know what it is.
That's true. I think everybody working with you should know the product. I'm sorry, were you going to say something?
No, sorry. Yeah.
Okay, no, so I agree with that also, because I think it's mostly on websites under the product, the product information where customers will see everything, and because I think whenever they come back to you with a complaint or saying this is not what I wanted, you have proof that you've already communicated it to you on the website. So I think that happens a lot with apparel, right?
At the same time, I feel options of return is one very critical thing that customers do look out for. So that's one area which is a challenge area, and I'm sure a lot of sellers, whoever's an entrepreneur, would be facing that bit. How to return, whether to accept what they're saying, because sometimes customers might not be rationally understanding what you're saying and just say, "Oh my God, I want to return this." So then, so your challenges is, I think that's the one critical area when. And I think I think I can call it a myth as well. Customer is the king. It's also kind of a myth, I feel. Because not everyone is your ideal customer. Your ideal customer is your king. Yeah, I think that should be the new.
Yeah, you should change it.
Change the phrase by saying customer is a king. Not all customers are ideal customers, are true customers. Somebody are people who harass sellers. I think that's one thing we all would be facing.
Yeah, the worst thing that people say is, "Arey, the weaver, if you go to the house, वो तो इतने में नहीं दे रहा है, वो तो 500 रुपए कम में देता है."
Yeah.
Then sometimes you just feel like saying that, okay, you go. You'll understand the flight charges, the vehicle you'll take to go reach the weaver is way higher.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of value adds that you are doing. You are giving the design and everything. So many things are there. So a small seller gets bogged down and they think that, oh, I'm looting.
Yeah,
and a business, then business itself is a loot.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone is buying them. What is business then? So I think that is where your answer should come from. You should explain the customer that why you are charging so much, and always make them understand that the effort that I'm putting in, the effort that my team is putting in, it has to add value. So
yeah, I agree with you there. I've heard this too from so many people that I just go to the tailor myself. And then you should say, yeah, please do go ahead. So completely agree with you. A lot of small businesses have this issue of being told that it's much cheaper on. I don't want to name the marketplaces. It's much cheaper on online marketplaces. So why don't I just buy there? So then it becomes a challenge to communicate that to them. I completely agree. So on to the next myth, right? That I think this is something that I'm sure you will relate to a lot, and that is to promote the brand, the founder should make an appearance on the brand social media handles. I mean, maybe it applies, maybe it doesn't, because I know that the photos are, it primarily features the founders wearing saris, right? But do you think it's important for the founders to be that active or constantly make an appearance on, the brand social media?
Not really. I think it's another myth that I think a lot of people are falling prey into, because people are getting pressurized now to do things and make reels, and you can see a lot of founders have started making reels which are not. I would not say it's awkward. You can see that they're actually struggling to make it, and they make it. So I feel it's not necessary that you do it. If you're not comfortable and that's not your core area, don't do it. You have to figure out what your core area is, and just coming and showing your face online or in the social media area doesn't mean that people will trust you more. It is not that. Your product should speak that when the customer receives it. And also, if you have, let's say, your voice can be your voice can be your face. Your hands can be your face. If you're doing things, making things every day, like cooking and showing, or making a candle, let's say you're a candle seller, that can be your face. So consistency, honesty, these are what I've spoken a lot about, but I feel that's what the truth is. Your face is not it.
And also sometimes just people want to know what is happening behind the brand. Why, how is it happening? You can show those aspects of your business. For
Mm-hmm.
example, who is actually making it, or how is it getting done. Or if you're a service provider, then you can show that, who are doing things, and
Mm-hmm.
videos of your brand.
Yeah, the
Actually,
behind the scenes,
yes,
basically.
or
Yeah.
also even text,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
like
quotes. Yeah.
quotes, like just a nice background with things written,
Mm-hmm.
like honest sayings. Like if someone is making a candle, for example, if I pick that, then you can talk about the fragrances you're using. You talk about the wax that you're using.
Right.
These things. It can be just something written, um, and consistent, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I'll tell you why. Because again, because of social media and the whole power that it carries, right? A lot of, I mean, I'm sure it's not fair for those small business owners who are introverts, who are shy, who have linguistic restrictions. I would say, they could only cater to one language of people. So what do they do? Do they keep appearing on social media to showcase their products? No, right? So I think I hope they get some relief hearing this from you guys, that you don't really have to show your face and be the face of the brand all the time, even if it's your business. I completely agree with that. So to before we go on to the next, the myth, that the final myth that I would like to discuss before we take audience questions. I'm losing track of time, but that's okay. That's primarily this, that a lot of small businesses uh, don't know what marketing channel to start with, right? They don't know. We discussed social media marketing, and I understand that, and we spoke about setting up a website also. Uh, but let's start with hearing how Suta grew from you. You started with Facebook, you ventured into website, Instagram. How did you grow your followers? I also ask this because the photos you take are pretty brilliant, but I read somewhere that it started with you guys taking photos. I think Tanya took the photos, right? Because you have experience taking product photos. So you guys started taking the photos. You also modeled for your own, you continue to model for the saris as well. And I want to know those different tools of marketing, or what are those particular elements that which very pertains just to Suta, that worked for you guys as a brand, right? And helped you grow your followers.
Interesting. Okay.
For us, I think when we started, we started talking a lot about the customers, because we wanted to create a space which
Hmm.
is safe for people to talk about, and you wear whatever and however you are happy wearing that, and
Right.
you're confident in it, and
Mhm.
that was our main aim when we started. And we started posting everyone's pictures, because we personally, before sleeping, we used to see all the pictures that we used to receive on the day. And
We just wanted this page to be like a page of celebration. So even
Okay.
if you get like a person wearing a sari in a toilet, let's say an office toilet, she's taking a photo. We used to post that also, because we used to just love it, because she's working and she got time
Yeah.
out after too much work hours and she's clicking. So we did that. So that was our idea of celebrating
a lot of
saris.
people said that, अरे बाथरूम का सेल्फी कौन लगाता है, पीछे देखो बाल्टी पड़ा है, झाड़ू पड़ा है,
Yeah.
things like that also came. But we made sure that it's a safe space for you to send your
Yeah.
picture, and we love it, and we will put it.
Right.
Suta community, like Suta Queen community grew. That was the community which became like a word of mouth, and people started loving being featured on Suta.
Mm-hmm.
And because we were somehow empowering them, talking about women empowerment, talking about how you can just be yourself in the space, people started endorsing that. So anyone wearing Suta would just talk to another person wearing Suta. But otherwise, if you see, nobody will just go walk. Let's say they're wearing a kurta or something, they will not say, unless they're wearing something like a Sabyasachi, or when the
Mm-hmm.
bride tags, I'm wearing Sabyasachi, something like that. But having like a common brand do that, so that I think Suta, people
Mm-hmm.
related to that because it was a safe space and they wanted to talk about it. That
Right.
was about the Instagram bit.
Mm-hmm.
I think you wanted to also talk about the marketing bit, where
Yeah.
about this bit when you spend money
Yeah.
on social media.
Yeah.
I think that we have to understand a lot about industry standard. What is the ROI you receive? So return on investment. If let's say you spend 100 rupees in Google,
Mm-hmm.
will you get 1,000 rupees or will you get 200 rupees? So if you let's say you get 1,000 rupees, you are getting 10x. So that means logically you're giving 10% off. in your product.
Yes.
So that calculation is very important. People need to understand which all platform should I spend money in, and how much ROI I'm getting from each platform. Is it feasible for me? Let's say if I'm making 2x, means I'm giving 50% discount. I will never, trust me. It's a bad call for a product like Suta, because we don't have so much margin. But um, any brand, like a different brand who has a huge margin, can always opt for that, having 2x, 3x returns.
Right.
So getting the idea of returns, how much return is it? Like it's a 3x, 33% off. Are you okay with it? Depends. So you can find which is working for you based on that. YouTube marketing is working, or a Facebook, or a Google, social media marketing, or if you just do SEO, search engine optimization,
Right.
which will work for you.
And also just understanding from your with the so-called competitors or your
Similar
brands which are
industry.
similar brands. If you can understand from them what kind of returns they get.
Yeah.
For example, imitation jewelry gets a 3x. For example,
Usually they do. Yeah,
then you should get more or less the same amount. Or are you getting more, then you are doing something right, or are you getting less? So just talking about it also helps, and to decide what kind of margins you should keep in your products, so that the returns is making sense for you.
Yeah.
So these aspects help a lot. So saying that you have to spend a lot in marketing is a myth.
Yeah.
You spend only so much, depending on your margins and your
return
capacity. Yeah, like spending capacity.
Okay. So that, yes, of course, I think I also believe marketing need not be costly. Especially when you're starting your business, right? A lot of them worry they have to start spending money on ads. And we've done a few webinars in the past where experts have said you don't have to start doing them right away. Like build a little bit of, following
We
and
did it after how many? 3, 4
For
years?
the initial
years.
3.5 years, we didn't do
We didn't do
spend
any money spent. It was only organic. We were also organic. You know what? It helps you to get genuine customers.
yeah.
You just get the genuine number of followers, customers. You just get them, and then on top of that, it builds. Then Facebook will show the ads to these customers and friends of theirs, so who will have a similar taste. So that's what the base should be really strong. So spend some time without doing marketing to understand where
we
you
also
stand.
did physical exhibitions back then. Nowadays it's not happening. To even physically meet people and understand them better. They also meet us, they trust us better, they touch and feel the products. That also helped us in building the initial few customer bases.
So when you were building your initial few customers, I want to know, where did you sell? When you must have had an offline presence somewhere. So where did you start selling? Did you sell offline anytime, like in exhibitions or something like that?
Yeah, we did. There's an exhibition which is called the Little Flea, which happens in Mumbai. We love that exhibition. That has a similar story and a vibe of Suta. So we love that exhibition, and I think that is one place where we actually, all our customer base, the initial set, we also know them by name, because we met them there. So that was when we started. Exhibitions help. Figuring out exhibitions, like-minded exhibition, like-minded, by like-minded I mean that your kind of brands come in and show their product.
Yeah.
And also, I'm a big introvert, and also meeting people physically was a challenge for me. But I slowly started enjoying also, because I would be a silent spectator most of the time, and only when there were too many people I used to interact. But to understand the way they're seeing the product, the facial expressions, that helped a lot.
And to be honest, we had a garage. Literally a garage where you put the shutter up and then get inside. It was just one room garage. And there was a toilet which was behind, so you could just go to the backyard and just go. And there used to be a very, very busy lane with a lot of vegetable vendors and people who sell constantly. And it was like a circus.
Yeah, and even a lot of people used to come there because they said that can I just come and physically meet you? And we used to allow. It's not like a
store. It was not a store.
It was just dumped. We are just utilizing the space to the maximum, and people used to enjoy coming there because they thought that it's so genuine that we're allowing. Always give a disclaimer.
Yeah,
saying that it's like this.
So put a photo and say it's a go down, and it's a go down. We work out of that space. You want to come, you can come. See my place. And people love it. So I think
with every aspect of business, just give a disclaimer. Say honestly that my packaging might be really bad because I'm still working on it.
Yeah.
For example, and people will not mind that. Or also write a small note saying that, okay, I'm really working on the packaging. They delayed the order, so hence I'm packing it in a newspaper and sending it to you. Hope you don't mind. That just small message would just mean a lot, and people will not mind even a crumpled product that way.
I completely agree, because I think that's what's missing with so many brands, especially when they become big, when they grow and they scale up, right? Customers that stuck with you for so long need to still be reminded that you guys are genuine, that you still care so much about us. So I think that the best way to say that is to give disclaimers, be honest and upfront. A lot of brands can take a leaf out of that book. I agree with you. So with that, I think we have a few audience questions that people have come in to say hi. A lot of them are loving the session, and so we have our first question, which is: I would like to know more about the challenges Suta faced as a new brand in the market.
Okay. So we faced a lot of challenges. First was we didn't know the product well. We didn't have a technical knowledge about it. So I think we could have done a course probably and started, but then we just jumped into it and learned on the go. So that was how we started. So that was a major challenge we faced because we just didn't understand a lot of things and we had to learn on the go, trust people, got cheated and stuff like that happened. That was one major challenge. Second, I would say about the hiring. We could have hired a little earlier, but we were so scared about the money that we have to give money. What if we don't make it? We don't get the
Also,
returns.
trusting people, we delayed it a bit, saying that array accounts I only have to manage, I only have to transfer. What if they transfer more?
Yeah.
You have to trust. Otherwise, if I keep doing the transfers, who will see the other side of the business? If I only keep, so that okay.
Yeah, that similar point I was saying, build systems around it to check it.
Yeah.
So, for example,
Yes.
finance, if we give it to somebody else, build a system of somebody else checking it as well. So, maker checker. So, do those kind of things. Everything needs to have a system so that it is not a people dependent business. So, if somebody is missing tomorrow, you will not say, "Oh my God, who's going to do it?" There has to be system.
And even you need breaks. You can't do everything. So that is we got exhausted, like extremely exhausted, and even seeing from a different angle, seeing overall picture, we delayed it because we were doing all the minute things. Packing thik se hona hai.
For the longest time, I would open there's a group called
You didn't do mistake.
Work Suta. I went till last year to check everything myself, like open the order and see like what if they packed something else. I couldn't leave it. So basically we're saying that don't be paranoid with everything. Give it away slowly and slowly so that you can grow the business in from you have
angles.
to come up from the top. You have to see the picture from the top. You cannot sit on the bottom and constantly do the same thing.
Basically, I'm saying don't sit and pack your own stuff. The hire kar lo.
Yeah.
That is another mistake that we did. We delayed hiring. Plus,
so many. Oh my God! It's not having a website. People kept asking us. Even now, people ask us, "Where's your lookbook?" Even now, Suta doesn't have a lookbook. Can you believe it? It's so silly because in fashion industry it works like that. We could have created it, but we didn't. For the long time, there are a lot of mistakes.
Time.
Listen, I think the solution is listen. If someone's asking for something, 3 लोगों ने same question पूछा है, implement it, भाई. Only 3 customers have complained about the same thing. Fix your system. If they are saying returns is bad, fix your returns. So I think to just listen and do, you have to be free.
Yes.
Don't hire people.
And also website. Also, when we said website, when what happened was all the products are say 1,000 rupee, and you get money in the bank, and checking is very very difficult. And when you get order numbers and money, when it's growing big, it made sense, which we delayed again. So these mistakes plus fixing returns.
I think reconciliation. One more mistake. We kept thinking things just happen automatically and perfectly everywhere. That's also one more mistake. Too much trusting in wrong places.
Right.
So we felt that other brands, I'm sure they're reconciling. Why should we do it? No, you have to also do it. But don't do it yourself. Figure out somebody who is good at it and will do it. It's a constant job. You can't burn yourself in doing that. So yeah, I think, oh my God, you opened a Pandora's box. You just asked mistakes, and we are like, boba.
No, but I think that's great because so many businesses on here must be, that they're going to take anticipatory bail now. They will be like, okay, I'll make sure that, I'm not going to do this. Or they might be the process of doing it and you're going to burst their bubble. So I think that's very important, of course. And I completely agree when you say that about before you can, get customers to trust you guys, it's about you trusting others also with your business, right? To join and to be a part of. So that's so important, and I can imagine that the effort it takes because it does happen. People do get cheated. People do get, especially when you feel you don't know too much of a particular thing. I mean, reconciliations is something I've heard the phrase because someone in my family does it, but I have no idea otherwise what it could mean, right?
So,
So,
so
yeah,
exactly. So these things are so simple sometimes. Just doing plain math of just adding and
Yeah,
seeing
plus minus.
plus minus. But sometimes you ignore it because you feel somebody is doing it right. No, systems
yeah,
के mistake. लॉजिस्टिक्स कंपनीज क्या ही गलत कर देंगे, वेट करके लिखना ही तो है.
कभी कभी ना 100 की जगह ना उन्होंने 10,000 लिख दिया,
Imagine.
1,000 लिख दिया.
So if you miss out, this is like a nightmare.
We have a person checking everything. Like,
right,
have they added the? So if we have shipped 2 sarees in one order, the weight should be how much? 1 kg, not more than that.
right.
It has to add up. So just checking like basic, picking random sets of numbers, checking those make sense.
Yeah, of course, yes. So I think a lot of us have learned new phrases today, which we need to go back and check. So I think nailed it right there. Our next question is, do you have any idea, which we were talking about sometime back, which is any idea on how to manage returns and refunds in the clothing line? Sometimes customers send me damaged products. How can I handle that?
Make sure that is you actually put it in your product pricing. Monthly, how much returns you get which is fake or defective or a customer's mistake. Add that also in your overhead, which will get divided in the product. I'm telling you because after a point, you cannot fight. After that, once the product leaves your place and it reaches the customers, you have to trust the customer.
Yeah.
He or she says the product is bad, it's come torn. Trust, you have to trust. You can't
Even
fight.
if you say that I have the footage of CCTV footage of packing the right product in the right way,
But you're still
you can
blaming or
always
fighting
saying
the
that
customer.
yeah, you cannot do that. You lied.
Yeah.
You cannot do that, and it's
Really? Because I feel you should ideally.
what happens is sometimes logistics may some problem can happen.
Yeah.
And if a person has already said that it's come torn, you saying that you're lying, they'll never accept, right?
So you will get into a fight which is not needed, and
you might not get anything out of it,
and you might not win. You
Right.
might say tomorrow, I'll not refund you. You can do it. Initially, we did it. Like we did some cases where we said we cannot refund. But that customers for sure is gone. Anyways, let's say you've decided it's not a good customer, but imagine it happening with 2-3 customers coming together. You might have to find the problem that actually there was a mistake or not. And secondly, you have to figure out, you have to add it in your cost. This is very, very.
It's not a very big number. What happens in a month, for example, if your returns is 8%, and out of which 2% is bad, add that, divide in all the products. It will be hardly 2-3 rupees or 5 rupees.
Correct. It's hardly anything. So you have to just give that, that in your mind, you should not be worried about it. Just calculate. I'm telling you, numbers never lie.
Yeah.
Just simply calculate, figure out 1 रुपए का ही है, ठीक है, 1 रुपए पैसा बढ़ा दो या फिर अपने मार्जिन से घटा लो. That's my margin.
And not losing sleep over all these lies
or
mistakes, saying that that person, how could they tell me this? How could they blame me, saying that I have sent the wrong products? Initially, we got bogged down by all of this.
We
lost sleep, lied. It doesn't make sense.
Right, of
You
course.
cannot lose it. You have so many people to support. All the people who are working for you in your team. You have to support them. You cannot be bogged down by just one single bad person out there.
Right, of course. And it must be, especially in the beginning stages when you're already a little, skeptical and scared, getting a negative customer review and for no fault of your own. I can't imagine. It must be very hard to handle. So, yeah.
It's better not to fight, refund it, get over it, walk past it, and make new customers, So that's what you have to do. And also there are ways you can actually block certain kind of customer. If you feel the same person has done it twice, and you feel that's not genuine, you can block it on some websites.
Yeah. Also, one more point I wanted to highlight is that when we say that there's a return window, for example, 7 days, people
Right.
have to ship within that or raise a complaint before that. People usually do. We take requests, which is very, like I was traveling and it reached late and all that. We take into consideration.
Yes.
Plus, when it comes back to us, if it comes back in a bad stage, for example, a sari people wear and then they have returned it, you can smell it, you can feel it, it's crumpled. But and also, so what you do is we cut a certain amount from the refund. We say that it hasn't come back in the right condition. We are really sorry. So we will deduct a 200 rupee, which we use for the dry wash.
Correct. So the policies need to be very, very clear. Write the policies so nobody can check across, come back with the policy. So date this within this time, I'll accept it. With this, this is the look and feel of the product I need. If it's broken or it's torn, I will not, or I'll deduct so much money. And then, these kind of things have to be set in the beginning. So that they don't come and charge
very
you.
clearly write. Yes, please clearly write it. So people should not say, oh, you have hidden and written, disclaimer mein likh diya hai, I didn't see. It has to be very crisp and clear.
And the better the return policy, the more trusting a brand you become.
Of course. Yes.
So,
Yes.
A bigger window also. I mean, initially we used to keep it for only, I think,
2 days.
2 days.
We made it 7 days.
Mila bola kyun nahi? That maybe they didn't try it.
Maybe they didn't try it.
Maybe they could delay it because we thought through. Because I also do the same thing when I order. I don't see it immediately. So that's what we thought, and we changed it over so many times to make it proper.
It took a lot of time, guys. It's returns not easy. And recently we even had, as we said, we spoke to another brand who was a called competitor, but we worked together to build our returns policies better.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. Of course. And so I was going to ask that as a follow-up, and you mentioned it anyway about building brand trust, right? So, of course, you've done, I follow you on Instagram, and I've seen you go out of your way to post customer reviews, what everyone's saying about your brand. But other than that, of course, I also now I know that a very clear and crisp return policy also helps build brand trust, right? But when it comes to apparels now in India, especially in India where there are, as don't want to say the word, but fast fashion, lots and lots of fast fashion. How does a brand like Suta build that trust with people, with your customer base, and with anybody new out there? Also, how do you go about building trust?
I think in slow fashion, there are few things that people have, a myth about slow fashion. That consistency of product is missing. Because let's say it's a hand painted sari, or let's say hand dyed. This is a hand painted one. So hand dyed sari. So it won't be consistent. So first you have to work in the quality department. The quality department needs to be really strong and figure out ways so that the quality never suffers, and that doesn't happen. So trust which is your product, which is a no-brainer. I think your product needs to speak and become the best. And second would be, I think, one is the expense bit. So how you make sure that the cost is not as high as, because fast fashion means it's cheap, right? Because it is produced in a certain way. So adding value, talking about the value you provide. For example, our blouses are expensive. People talk about our blouses. That is expensive, but we have so much margin. We talk about it. So if you put on weight, lose weight, you can actually get it altered and wear it. So these small things, you have to talk about, explain people, and then people start understanding the value that it comes with.
The best thing is that there are a lot of similar minded people in the world. You just have to find your own tribe. That's how it works, and a lot of people don't follow trends. That's how we are, and we talk about these things so that they relate to that thing and they come to us,
and it becomes like a word of mouth. People talking more, getting more people similar to that, and people who respect or love slow fashion. So yeah, that's how we did it.
Okay, great. So our next question, and I'll go through these quick because I think we are running short on time, which is, how do you reach out to customers in tier 2 and tier 3 towns? I'm sure you have a fan base there. How do you reach out to them?
Instagram is the best place. Honestly, Facebook and Instagram is there. Everyone is literally there. So, once those people find us, let's say even 1 or 2 people find us, then Facebook will find them. So world has become a much easier space. Earlier, imagine putting in a newspaper to tier 3 में डालना है, tier 2 में डालना है, cost newspaper का कितना होगा, how many people, readership कितना है,
Yeah.
viewers, people read it or not, you never know. So these kind of things we don't have to do it now. Google and Facebook automatically filters these things, reaches the perfect demographic for your product, and gets those kind of people. So you don't have to worry about it. But then Google will also decide whether tier 1 city people wear it more or tier 2, and then based on that they will show it to them. And that's how Google works, and that's how Facebook works.
And if you're targeting a certain kind of a city or a particular city, you can always go through the influencer route also. If that person is, for example, in Baroda, if there's an influencer who has this mass reach, who is a college youngster, and that is your customer, reach out to those people. And sometimes a lot of people do it for barter. You can always talk out saying that I'm a new brand. Talk about that, and then you reaching is pretty easy that way. It has worked for us,
and also tweaking the ads, right? Tweaking the ads. Just say that I want to reach tier 2, tier 3 cities. If you think, let's say you're making a sari which is Agra ka, Taj Mahal painted, and you think Agra people will wear it, put it Agra. I want to show only Agra people these sari ka ads. Do it. I think it made it so much more simpler.
Of course, yeah. And I think that's a great untapped market. I mean, you read enough articles on e-commerce trends, you figure out that tier 2 and tier 3 towns, especially after lockdown, a lot of them moved back to their hometowns and to their native places, and they still want to shop online, right? They still want to stick to their favorite brands. So I think it's also about finding a good shipping partner, someone who can reach there, and then you ask them to, kind of spread the word in the community itself about the brand. That's a great way. So, speaking of trends, we have a question from our own team member, which is, what are the e-commerce trends you believe shape a brand?
Wow.
Will shape a brand.
Yeah.
The e-commerce trends you believe shape a brand.
Okay.
From your own personal experience, what are these trends that you're seeing year on year, which makes your business grow?
I think the one thing you have to remember is e-commerce trends are so ever changing. Now how you spoke about reels now, it's becoming viral because it's easy for people to swipe, and this thing is a new thing, right? We have heard about Tinder left and right. Now everyone is doing this constantly. It's a new thing, and people, as in, it's so engaging. And it's mindless as well. So that's
the 30-second time span is like what people show in that. So many changes, and it's fun, And I think these trends are here to come and go constantly. And today it's this, tomorrow it's again something else.
I think one more e-commerce trend, if I may say, is I think people talking about personal experiences now, and everyone listening to it, talking about it, discussing it more has become more in pandemic. So it's, I think, a completely new thing. Everyone has started expressing their own views about not just product. I'm not just saying product, but experience, general experience, life experience, about doing things, trying new ideas and stuff like that. And it's a new thing. People are investing time. I'm not sure it's going to change post pandemic or not. I somehow feel yes, people are going to be more busy, but it has changed. Pandemic itself has changed a lot of way e-commerce itself operates.
Of course.
I think there's so many trends out there. You have to pick what you want to do and what you don't want to do. Right? They're like the funny stuff. They're serious things. For example, during the pandemic, me and Sujata, we have realized that reaching out to people is so much more easier. We're doing it live. I don't know if it was, physically it was so easy. Traveling and meeting and having
networking.
So many people.
Even networking, as I said.
So just pick what trend suits your brand and what you like doing. You need to decide, and that's gonna be your brand story, and it will help in.
But I think networking is one major thing which is going to change the e-commerce scenario, the way it works. Working together, collaborating with people. I'm just not saying collaborating with even influencers. New influencers have come up. There are moms who are on Instagram are just doing so many things. I've seen so many elderly women are just breaking the norm, taking things, beautifully in some other dimension. So it's a beautiful question by Rapti, but I feel it's too many things are happening.
I know. And no, because you brought that up, I think as one of the last pointers I was going to ask you, before we take on the next question, that influencer marketing, is it, I don't know how to phrase it without saying is it good or is it bad, but do you think we should invest in it? Do you think it has the power to, build brands out there? I mean, yes, we know it does, but who would Suta trust with, influencer marketing? Would you consider it? Have you done it?
What we have done is that for us it was a good thing that lot of other people and influencers and actors and actresses, they started buying and wearing Suta, and
Right.
we have only reached out to them in terms of doing lives or talking to them or taking quotes from them.
I think it's beautiful.
It's
I
amazing.
feel it's too good. I myself trust so many influencer, and if they say try this, I try that. I
Right.
do it
Yeah.
myself. So I'm saying there are so many people out there who are doing wonderful, fabulous job of reviewing things properly, ethically. Figure out the ethical influencer you trust, and you actually can close your eyes and just look at whatever they're saying, and you just do it. So I feel it's going to be here for a long time because there are people who are really doing hard, like really working hard and doing it. I think it's a very difficult job.
So for your brand, you have to figure out what kind of influencers can take your product, review it, honestly, and then do a post or give a shout out, and
Yeah.
that really
Not
depends
just look at the not just look at the followers.
yeah, correct.
That's I think a big mistake, and it's the myth that
Yeah.
only big followers, influencers with big followers, you should give your
Right.
product.
If influencer with say 5,000 to 8,000 followers would have a better reach than a 1 million follower, because that they get these products, for example creams, they get it today, tomorrow they're reviewing it. It must not be true, you don't know the effect yet. So selecting the kind of influencers.
Also,
really
you
makes
asked a
sense.
question about whether Suta has done influencer
Right.
campaigns.
Yeah.
We have done very selective, very little campaigns with people, and I just happened to see the question about how much we pay the price back in
Yeah. I was just going to bring that up. Yeah.
Instagram advices. It's a related question. I'll take that. So there are agencies who do it, but I would honestly say that if you're a small business, going through an agency doesn't make sense because of the commissions, and you never know the true picture and whether they really understand your brand or not. If you are the owner of your brand and if let's say you have 20 members in your team, ask them who they follow personally,
Right.
and
Okay.
then talk to them and figure out what is their way of. So it need not always involve money. Need not always involve money, but if it does involve money, pay. But if it has to make value in your head, so figure out. You can always have it can be also based on targets. You can say that it's sales based, right? If you give a coupon code out and figure out if they can sell so many products of yours, let's say they can sell 20 bags of yours, you can give per bag, you can give some cut out of it. It could be
Yeah.
so many different ways of doing it. So collaborate well, talk, discuss, and don't just go with an agency and do it. Figure out the best way to do it and do it mindfully.
Right. Of course, I agree with that, and I think that's. I mean, when you say that, I'm also reminded of micro influencers, right? Those that are very helpful just for your brand and
Yeah.
nobody else. I think that's very important.
Yeah.
There's a question that I particularly like. I thought we should take that up now, which is how should we approach weavers? What is the process? So I mean, the only thing I can think of is, of course, you know them personally, but what else would you say?
So weavers, honestly, if you can get hold of any person who knows a weaver, talk to them. Weavers usually we have seen, because after I think meeting so many weavers, usually weavers are very receptive to your designs and ideas, and they are very willing to work. Most of them, we have seen very little resistance. Initially, we did face resistance, but trust me, if you just pick up the phone or if you can just go talk to them, meet them, I think there's no way, a written way of approaching them.
It's the best thing to meet them physically and make them understand and work with them. They trust you instantly, rather than talking on phone, because then again you can of course pay them in advance so that they're at peace in shipping their products out to you.
Yes.
To check and all that. There are ways to build trust. Initially advance payments or 50% payments, and these kind of things you can always take since you cannot travel much during pandemic.
Yeah.
They also have lesser work these days.
Yes.
A lot of them have lesser work because the physical stores getting closed. So they'll be all the more receptive to you reaching them out.
Yeah, so just call, talk to them, figure out how to try to not give the new design in the beginning. I think honestly, if you take their design, whatever
with
they
a
have,
little tweak, maybe.
start with that. I think that's the best way because they don't feel that you might just give something and not pay them. And advance payment is a must, I feel, because I think we have seen enough examples where people have been cheated, and it's very sad. Like I can't even speak about how much anger I have towards this middlemen who pick their sarees, never pay them back, and stuff like that. So anyway, so I think once you figure out the money, the way transparency is the key here. Just telling them when will you pay, how will you pay, advance payments. I think there is. I think you can just contact them directly. There are some clusters there are heads, and then they talk to the weavers. That is very, very simple. They are very technologically advanced. You can talk to the cluster head and they will just make the process easier. But if it's a standalone person weaving in the place, then it comes, a lot of trust building is required, but everyone listens to your story. Honestly, it's quite simple.
Absolutely. So our final question for the session is, I have my own clothing business, which I used to run offline, and I've shifted to online, but now I'm not getting any orders. What can I do? A lot of businesses who have just set up have this dilemma. So what are your suggestions?
I understand. On offline was a different game altogether, and online is completely something else altogether. We understand because now we are doing both, right? We are online as well as offline. So understand these are two different games. Online, the only thing you have to first understand is you have to talk, scream, tell your story, tell your product details. You have to talk, and constantly
endlessly talk. Like if you think that, "Arey, मैंने ये आज post किया, nobody replied," talk again about the same thing in a different way. Keep talking about the same thing if that's your USP. Keep talking about it. Also, I think if the product shoots are not working, you should try something else because what people see online is the pictures or the way you're hanging it on the door. Change a little bit and follow Pinterest maybe. Get ideas, do it DIY. You can always do it. You don't need to spend too much.
Even if you have a phone photo, but figure out the background, the lighting, natural lighting. Probably people are not understanding. Do a small video of showing the product details. Post the video, talk about it. That's one. I think I think you have to talk, explain it better. Go live if you need to, tell people what you want to talk about, show people, video call, just do videos and show people what it is in the live session about the product. One more important thing you can do is talk to your offline customers and see if they are online, they're present online. If you know them, ask them to write testimonials for you. That's one way to get them because people are not trusting you because there's no history, right? But you have already have history with offline customers.
Yeah, you have to reach out to them.
So reach out and get them to talk about it. There are ways to do it. Probably write a quote for them and tell them, if you are okay with it, can I post it on your behalf? Do simple things like that, and you'll start seeing this.
It's initially it's a slow process. I know it gets really daunting, and you may think that I don't know what next. But keep doing it. Yeah. Keep doing it. Don't get disheartened. It will pick up. If it was doing well offline, it has to pick up.
Yeah. And I also think, the answer stands for this question also, which is, I'm hoping our last question. How long did your brand take to become so popular? We know it's 5 years old, but of course, with you guys, I think we can discuss when you saw the spike, right? When you saw suddenly a lot of orders coming in. And what can brands do differently today to be unique in the market? I think it's similar to the last answer.
Yeah, nice question. I think I would say popular. For us, Bollywood was one, which was the biggest push because automatically we were in Bombay, and then for the stylist to come and pick it up from us, it was easy for them. So they picked it up, wore it on TV. The moment it comes on TV, you tag a celebrity, it becomes popular, right? It's the best way because they have so many fan following and follower base, and movies are watched by so many people.
Also, Pinterest worked for us there
Pinterest,
because
yes.
when you want to have any look, you want to copy or you want to refer to, or pictures you want to refer to, you go there, you send, and stylists usually picked our pictures from there.
Yeah.
We never thought that this would happen. We were just trying to be present in all platforms. That's it.
And that photo even we didn't post. Somebody else posted our photo on Pinterest, and that's how
for blouse design, I think.
Yeah, for blouse design.
Oh, okay, wow.
And also invest in all these kind of articles, even for the previous answer, probably writing blogs and giving your things out to other people, for example, to use this as some content. It just reaches out to people.
So let's say top 10 blouse designs. So let's say I don't know what your business was, but then offline business, whatever sold, what was the best design? Just say these are the top 10 designs which I sold the maximum in this year. Write about it. You never know, someone will pick it, or somehow SEO will pick it. Even if you don't pick it, even if a person doesn't pick it, Google will pick it up because those are most searched words, right? So simple things. I think for us, our content worked a lot better because we used to write a lot about the product, the cut and everything, the fabric.
We were obsessed about our product. So we just went on and on and on.
Yeah. I think that's very important, right? Because I feel somewhere I wanted to ask that question about how content helps you. Because everywhere I've read, whenever I read the Instagram captions also for the saris, there's always a story. This is what I've noticed. There's always a story in the captions. There's always a description. It's not just, here's a sari, buy it. It's more than that. It's way more. You talk about, there's emotions, there's a backstory, there's somehow there's culture and history also added into it. I remember long back just falling in love with your captions and thinking, that's great enough to convince someone, about the quality of the product, right? I mean, it may not seem so, but it looks really genuine, right? And it is genuine. So I think that plays a huge role. You're right. You're absolutely right in brand visibility.
Yeah, I think working on that, because I tell you, Google picks up words. How else will Google find it? Apart from the images, of course, if the images pin more times, if the images have more like, it'll obviously come up. But otherwise, text makes a lot of, because someone Google में क्या लिखेंगे? Red sari with best selling red sari. So if you've written something about it, it'll just come up.
So SEO when you start working today, it will not show results tomorrow.
Yeah.
After 5-6 months, 7 months, it will start showing up. So you have to keep working on that consistently. That's what we always do. Even with the stories, we personally love stories and memories and stuff. So there was no strategy behind it. Not a big strategy. We thought that we should tell people why we made this and how we made this, and hence we started writing, and we stick to it. We don't forget it tomorrow because something else is working. We'll forget this. No, we keep doing it. Even today, from day one till today, we have we do it, and we found similar kind of people who love reading. People have bought sarees.
It also like this. So we found you.
I think these are certain things that you
can do to become unique or stand out. Yeah,
of course. Yeah, I agree with that, and I think so. Definitely, it brings us back to the very first points we had discussed, right? About when we started talking about the e-commerce myths, and you had said to be genuine and to say it as it is, right? Whatever you're selling, to be as genuine. And I think short term or long term, that's what eventually works in debunking everything and making your customer happy. So completely agree with you on all those pointers. And I think with that we come to an end to this webinar. Unfortunately, because of time, we've crossed the around half an hour. So it was such an engaging, interactive, amazing session. So thank you so much, Sujata and Taniya, for doing this with us. We learned a lot today. Not only did we bust a few myths, I think I learned a lot of new facts also. So thank you so much for being a part of this webinar today.
Thank you for having us. We really enjoyed it a lot.
Yes, thank you, and wishing all the best to all the entrepreneurs out there.
And you can reach out to us personally also if you want on our personal Instagram handles. If we have missed any questions, if you come up with anything new, you can reach out. We are always there.
We will share, I think, the website links and different resources in our comment section. Our team will do that. So you can reach out to the Suta sisters if you have any further questions. All right. Thank
Thank you.
you.
Bye.
Have
Thank
a
you,
great
Sujata.
day. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.